Okay, so we'll continue with the lesson. But before doing the exercises, we'll go through the different mechanisms. We'll see some pictures of the different ways that we can provide a point of operation guard. So the first one is called, we've said that the first one is called two-handed operation. So these are examples of two-handed operations where the worker has to use both hands. You see in this picture here, and in that picture also with the arrows, have to use both hands to operate the machine. Same thing in this picture here and in the other pictures as well. So basically you have to use both hands, and this is safer for you actually. So that's called two-handed operation. So if you go through this text here to understand why we use two-hand control or two-handed operation, requires constant concurrent pressure to activate the machine. So we have to use pressure. We have to apply both hands, and we keep pressing with both hands. The operator's hands are required to be at a safe location, so on control buttons, not inside the operation area, and at a safe distance from the danger area while the machine completes its closing cycle. So again, this is good because make sure that the hands of the operator are not in the dangerous area. So we have again devices two-hand controls here. Machine requires constant pressure from both hands on the controls in order to operate. Okay, so we'll go to the second one, which is micro switches and interlocks. So these are examples of micro switches and interlocks. You can see the pictures here. And the last one is photoelectric screen. So these are the photoelectric screen, and they are also good to make sure that the worker is safe, to prevent injuries. Another example of this machine here, photoelectric screen. Let's do the exercise now. So match the expressions with the pictures. So these are the expressions: 1, two-handed operation; 2, micro switches and interlocks, should be and interlocks, and then the last one is photoelectric screen. So we have the pictures here, and we have 3 expressions. So this is of course micro switch, and then that's photoelectric screen. What about this? So the worker here is using both hands, so it should be two-handed operation. Yes, it's two-handed operation. And this worker here is using also 2 hands. He's both hands, so it's also two-handed operation where he needs to use both hands at the same time. And then this one here, what do you think of this one? Yes, micro switches and interlocks. And the last one, since it has a screen there, it should be photoelectric screen. Yes, so it is photoelectric screen. So again, for pronunciation purposes, the first one is two-handed operation. Second one, micro switches and interlocks. Last one, photoelectric screen. Okay, so let's move on. We have another exercise which is true or false. So we have to read these statements here and decide whether they are true or false. Again, they are about guarding machines and equipment. So the first one is equipment guarding is not a safety feature. Is it for safety or not when we use guarding machines? Of course it is for safety, to keep us protected, to keep us safe. So it's false. And then rotating parts of a machine can be hazardous, can be dangerous. The rotating parts, the turning parts, the operating parts. Yes, they can. It's true. And then there are 3 kinds of guards. So about the point of operation, We have three, yes. But about guards in general, that's the lesson, yesterday's lesson. We have two. So we have two, we have fixed guards and point of operation guards. But if we move to point of operation itself, it has three elements. So it can be false or true. It depends whether we mean point of operation. Yes, we have three, and we talked about them just a moment ago. If we are talking about types of guards, fixed guard, and point of operation guard, then it's false. It's not true. Then number 4, fixed guard does not enclose the moving parts of a machine. It means it does not cover, it does not contain. That's the meaning of enclose. So is this true or false? Of course it is false. It encloses the moving parts because they are dangerous. So it has to guard them so that the worker doesn't get an injury. And then number 5 is two-handed operation is not safe. So of course it is safe because you are using both hands. So it is safe. So one of the hands will not be injured. Like when you use just one hand, the other hand you can forget about it and put it inside the operating area, so it gets injured. When you are using both of them, they are both away from the danger. So it's false. And in two-handed, number 6, in two-handed operation, only one hand is used. No, of course, it's two-handed, so it means two hands, not one hand. So that's false. And then micro switches make sure that all guards are in place. Yes, they do. So it's true. And then photoelectric screen stops the machine if any body part enters the operating area. Yes, it stops the machine automatically if there's any body part inside the operating area. So it's true. Let's do now the reorder. So we'll have to put the words in the right order to make sentences. We have a permanent, fixed, guard is rigid. So what do you think? Yes, it is. Fixed guard is a permanent, rigid guard. It is a permanent, rigid guard. It doesn't change. Fixed, it doesn't change. It's permanent, rigid guard. We cannot move it. So it's rigid. And then here we have a safety feature, equipment, guarding. So guarding equipment is a safety feature. It's part of safety. That's the meaning of safety feature. It's part of safety, guarding equipment. Then here we have is machinery hazardous, rotating. This is parts of can. We have 3 words here. This is an error. That should be parts of and then can and then be. So the sentence is rotating parts of machinery can be hazardous. Rotating parts of machinery can be hazardous.